So what is the fit used in the video and how is it flown? As always, you can find the fit in the video description. The idea is to play the Maulus as sort of anti-active tanked brawler. Go toe-to-toe, sitting at 0, no traversal, and outslug your opponent by merit of your high damage and your buffer tank, and they're trying to get off active reps, but the damage is so high they don't get very many. You wouldn't get very many either if you were trying to active rep, but instead you've used all your fitting on max damage, buffer tank. So in pursuit of max damage, 2 light neutron blasters, void loaded, Scram, Web, AB, normal stuff, and then our tank is a medium shield extender and 2 field extenders. We do double mag stab again, working towards max damage. It does not fit. We're 41% over on grid, but the micro auxiliary power core covers us there. And then in the rigs, in addition to the field extenders for tank, we have the burst aerator with 30 cubic meters of drone bay and 20 megabits of bandwidth. We can have 4 Hobgoblins in space, doing about 80 DPS, and then cold, no implants or drugs, we get 140 damage from the guns for a total of 220. If we heat, we get up to 241. If we add 2 cheap 3% damage implants, we get up to 250. If we add Pyro 4, we get up to 266. 4.81k EHP, which is not a lot. So we've got to think about what we're going to fight. The hull is fast relative to most T1 frigates, certainly the combat frigates. So, you know, compared to a Tormentor, compared to a Kestrel, a Merlin, And then Cursus, it's a fast haul. It's faster than a Rifter, faster than Breacher. It's 375, I think, if memory serves. Afterburner off. No skills. Yeah, 375 base speed. It'll be slower, of course, than the attack frigates, Atron, Executioner, etc. So how would you fly it? If it's something like an Cursus, a Rifter, an Atron that probably wants to brawl you at 0 with Void, you want to brawl them at 0, and you keep your traversal down, and you hope that you have enough buffer to burn through their buffer and active reps. Something like an Executioner, so it's faster and might be beam fit. I would fight an Executioner, but I would want him to warp into me. If you warp into him and he flies well and he's set up at Scramkite range, you'll be unable to close, and he's going to outtrade you. Something like a Punisher, you could engage, but in my experience, Punishers are always bait. You could try to fight the trap that shows up, potentially, but with this real thin buffer tank, even a little bit of the Punisher scraping away at it's going to be bad. You're going to have to maneuver. You're not in something like a rocket ship where you can be flying away from people and dealing good damage at them. You want to be sitting at 0. So I like poking Punishers and seeing what trap shows up, but this isn't the best hull for it. Tormentor, mostly beam fit, big damage, slow, probably wants to Scramkite. You can close on them. Again, though, real thin buffer, and so warping in on a Tormentor, you're betting that you're going to outplay him. He warps in on you, not too bad of a fight. It's one of the few fights I would orbit at 500 instead of doing a keep it range, and I would probably load Antimatter instead of Void. Hookbill, you kind of can't fight. It's got more damage. It's got rockets, so it can use that damage from wherever within scram range. It's got double web, so there's range control on you, and it's got a buffer tank, so it's terrible to fight along every dimension. With this Maulus fit, Griffin Navy issue will brawl you, but will also fit a medium shield extender, and just has better stats. Kestrel, I would fight. You might have difficulty against medium shield extender Kestrel. The hull's real slow. If he only has one web, you can warp off. If he goes double web, no point, you can warp off. If he's double web armor tanked, if he warps into you, I think you can probably kill him before he's able to pull range. The double web gives range control, but the hull's so slow, it'll take him a little while to make space. If you warp in on him and he's double web armor, he's just going to hold you at Scramkite range, presuming he flies well, and not much to be done. Merlin, medium shield extender Merlin, you would definitely... It would be a bad trade. He'll have similar or more damage and more EHP, but again, slow hull, you can fly away. Double web armor, he'll have range control, but again, he's running a lighter buffer setup with active reps, and that's kind of what we're trying to play against. And so I would take a fight against a Merlin, but if he's only webbing me once, maybe I leave. Atron, I would fight happily. If he realizes what you're flying and Scramkites, that's better for him, obviously. You can also switch Void to Null, and the drones, of course, can damage out to the edge of Scram range. So there's some possibilities to beat Atrons that are trying to Scramkite with Null loaded. I think mostly they'll want to brawl. Fed Navy Comet's a non-starter, just in hull. He'll have more EHP than you do, better damage. It's just too big of a stat delta. In Cursus, again, the kind of fight we want, brawl at 0, and we're hoping that the fact that our tank is buffer and his tank is active makes us the winner in this trade. Tristan, there's some fit variety in Tristan's. Newt Tristan, hard to fight with this setup just because the blasters get newted off. Kite Tristan, hard to fight if he gets to range, obviously. If you get on top of him with the Scram, everything, all hulls win that fight. And something like a Brawling Fit, they're not super common, so maybe Tristan, give a pass unless you have some reason to believe you know what his fit is and you think you can get in a position to take advantage of that. Breacher is mostly dual rep fit, and it's real hard to burst through dual rep Breacher because they can run both tank mods at the same time, and it just makes it hard to push through the buffer they have. Breacher's also fairly comparable in speed. 365, I think, is the base speed. So while you are faster in the Maulus with the 375, it's just a bit faster. And because he's got rockets and drones and you have blasters, you really want to be positioned at 0 on him, and it's going to be hard to close if he starts at range. Probably Breacher uphill fight. If you were keen to try to kill a Breacher with this Maulus fit, I would want him to warp into me. Let's get our Maulus fit back. So you're going to fight a Breacher, you want to warp into Republic Firetail, most commonly double web arty. You have no range control. You've got blasters. It's losing engagement. Rifter, again, sort of thing we want to fight. If he goes with a plate for the fit, I think it'll make it harder. And I think plated Rifters are more common than other plated frigates just because of how its fitting works out. Like the Incursus has 4 lows, and I don't know that I've ever seen an Incursus with a plate. That would make it tougher to fight, but it's just not that common. Rifters, you see some 200mm, some 400mm plates. But yeah, it's the same sort of thing. You want to engage at 0. You want to overwhelm his reps with max damage. If it looks like it's not going well, you can try to disengage. Disengaging from a non-plated Rifter would be hard. Because again, base speed of 365, real close to our 375, but the plate and some bulkheads will slow him down. So if he is plated and you recognize that early and it looks like it's going to be a bad trade, you can bail. Slasher potentially has a tracking disruptor, potentially has a Neut. I would engage one. I've got enough damage that I think most Slasher fits will struggle some. And then obviously visual fleet issue again. Rockets, high speed, higher speed than us, the web bonus, real tough fight. This particular Maulus fit's not really for engaging faction frigates, and then all the pirate frigates, right? If they're kite fit and they enter Plex and you catch them with a scram, you could kill them, something like a Garmer. But by and large, they have such a stat edge on you, it's going to be real uphill. So, my thoughts on this particular double magstab Maulus fit. I'll be interested to hear in the comments if you like this sort of Pyfa fit flying instruction afterward, or if you don't particularly value it. I'm looking to experiment a bit, try some different stuff. Thanks for watching.